Welcome back everyone, we're back again with another animated D&D class. Today we're doing the Devil Fruit Pirates, which is basically inspired from the pirates from One Piece that eat devil fruits like Luffy and stuff. I'm not too well versed in, One Piece, so this is kind of a different one, so I had to kind of research a bit more, so it took a little bit longer than usual for me to kind of do them. Normally it takes a couple of days, this one took about a week or so, give or take, in total working on it and trying to figure out what was the best, and there were so many devil fruits to choose from. Apparently there's over 75, so I had to choose about 6 from 3 different categories and try to make an archetype for each one of those, so that was kind of interesting, but we'll get into it. Devil fruits are mystical fruits found throughout the world that, when consumed, provide the eater a special ability depending on the type and variation of the fruit itself. With only one notable exception, an individual can acquire the powers of a single devil fruit. Devil fruits are said to be the fruits of the sea devil, that the secret to their powers is hidden to the devil fruit pirates themselves. So devil fruit pirates kind of classed that way. We have 3 types of devil fruits. Devil fruit powers are so varied and mysterious that the powers gained from eating one can serve purposes that may transcend normal limits. Fruits are classified in 3 different groups: Paramycia or Paramycia, Zoan, and Logia. Paramycia types are devil fruits that alter the user's body in some way. Zoan types are devil fruits that allow the user to transform into an animal. This fruit provides 3 forms: the user's natural form, full animal form, where the animal size is awfully greatly exaggerated and over the top, and a hybrid form combining both original and animal form. So this is kind of like a werewolf or lycanthrope kind of fruit, so we kind of took elements of that into it. And then a Logia type. The devil fruits Logia type fruits allow the user to actually become a natural element in its entirety. Ever since the abilities are gained, they are neither completely human nor element in their default state. However, Logia users have the option of turning completely into element if they so wish. So they're a bit powerful, according to the lore and everything behind it. But here's our oh, I thought I changed this. I might have to edit this out. We'll go back and fix this. But Men of Letters, this obviously is from, I just copied the table from there, just so I didn't have to write out all these stats again. But level 1, you get your Devil Fruit powers and your Nimble Fighter features. Then you get a fighting style, your Devilish Duelists, Duelist dice, and a Devil Fruit feature at level 3. Ability score improvement, the usual kind of stuff. Extra attack level 5. Your Devil Fruit feature, you get one at level 6, 9, no, 3, 6, 3, 6, 11, 15, sorry. Then you get your Devil Fruit feature then, which is level 6. Your Duelist dice, you get 4, we'll go through it now in a moment, but so your hit points is 1d8 per Devil Fruit Pirate level. They're kind of like a swashbuckler roguish type, so we want to give them a d8. I thought a d10 might be too powerful because they'd be quite dexterous and hardy, and you kind of want your dexterous fight combatants to be quite like they're going to do a lot of damage, but you want to be kind of smaller down the scale. Hit points at first level is 8 plus your constitution modifier normal, and then this normal thing, hit points higher level 1d8 or 5 plus your con modifier per Devil Fruit Pirate level after first. Proficiencies, armor is light and medium, weapons, martial weapons, tools, artisan tools or navigator's tools. Kind of, you're going to be on the sea a bit with the class anyways, you're a pirate, so if you're not on the sea it'd be kind of weird. Obviously you can be like maybe a stagecoach robber or something, that kind of idea, like, so you're a thief of sorts, you kind of fall into that category still. Your saving throws are dexterity and charisma, so you're going to be kind of like a normal pirate. You're going to have a silver tongue, and you'll be quite nimble and light on your feet, good at combat on the sea and whatnot. Skills, choose from 2: acrobatics, deception, intimidation, persuasion, sleight of hand, and stealth. Your starting equipment is a rapier or scimitar, a light crossbow, and 20 bolts or a dagger, a dungeoneer's pack or explorer's pack. I was thinking of making the light crossbow into a pistol, but you could always just reflavor it as a pistol, saying like, oh, you fire off your round or whatever. But I didn't feel like making stats for a pistol. Obviously you could use one if you want, but I didn't feel like making that attributes and stuff, because you kind of go into gunslinger then, and it's like, why not just play gunslinger at that point? So obviously reskin it if you want, like just say this is a gun for all intents and purposes. When you fire, maybe enemies within 100 feet have to make a perception check or whatever, or an advantage to see if they hear the sound or whatever. Devil Fruit powers. At first level, you commit yourself to a type of Devil Fruit, Parmekia, Zoan, and Logia, all detailed at the end of the description. So you kind of have to choose going into it which one you're going to be. So Parmekia kind of alters your user. Zoan kind of makes you a lycanthrope kind of thing without the curse effects and everything. And then Logia kind of makes you an elemental of sorts. So you have to decide which path you want to go down. And then at third level, you choose which branch of that branch you want to go down. It's kind of confusing, but I needed to include a couple for each one, otherwise it would be kind of weird. Then we have your Nimble Fighter. At first level, your training and bringing up as a pirate gives you a combat that doesn't rely on brute strength. You gain the following benefits while you're unarmed or wielding only martial weapons and aren't wearing any heavy armor or wielding a shield. You can use dexterity instead of strength for the attack and damage rolls of your unarmed strikes and martial weapons. You can roll d4 in place of normal damage of your unarmed strikes, so you can be kind of powerful. So you can use dex instead of strength for if you have a cutlass or something, if you want to be fancy, and if you have a really high dex modifier, so you don't have to use your strength then. That'd be kind of handy. And then at level 2 you get a fighting style. So at second level you adopt a style of fighting as your speciality. Choose one of the following options. You can't take a fighting style option more than once, even if something in the game that lets you choose it again. So like if you decide to branch off into, say, fighter or something, at level 2 you can't take a fighting style there, I believe. I'm pretty sure that's how it works. But so you can't like take another fighting style and just try to like double up on dueling or 2-weapon fighting, so you can't be super overpowered with it. So dueling, when you're wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you gain a +2 bonus to damage rolls with that weapon. 2-weapon fighting, when you engage in 2-weapon fighting, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the second attack. So in that case, you can also still use your dex in that case, as long as you're not using a shield. With the dueling fighting style, you can use a shield with it, but you have to keep in mind that you're not going to get the bonus of the dexterity modifier because you'll be using a shield, which will be kind of going against it. But you still get the bonus of dueling, even though you don't have a second weapon in your offhand. You can have a shield though, so it's kind of gets your rules that way. Then at third level, you get to feature Devilish Duelists. At third level, you learn to conduct impressive displays of martial prowess and speed. Whenever you take the attack action on your turn, your walking speed increases by 10 feet until the end of the turn. And if a weapon attack that you make as part of this action hits a creature, you can use one of the following Devilish Duelist options of your choice. You can only use one Devilish Duelist option per turn though. That's one thing. So you can't go like, I'm going to attack this guy, step in, stab him, walk away, stab him again, or stab his friend. So it's kind of like sneak attack in that regard. So you can only use it once per turn. So with defensive duelist, you expend one of your duelist dice to cause the weapon to deal extra damage to the target you hit. The damage equals the number you roll in your duelist dice. You can also add that number you roll to your AC until the start of your next turn. So that'd be a handy one. So if you step in, attack, and this would be a good option if you decide to take the mobile feat. Like you could step in, attack them, step back, and they can't get an attack of opportunity on you, and then you increase your AC. Slashing Duelist, you can expend one of your duelist dice to cause the weapon to deal extra damage to the target you hit and to any creature of your choice that you can see within 5 feet of you. The damage equals the number you roll in your duelist dice. We'll get to duelist dice in a second, it's the next feature down. So it kind of covers the damage, or the dice you can use for it. Mobile Duelist, you can expend one of your duelist dice to cause the weapon to deal extra damage to the target you hit. The damage equals the number you roll on the duelist die. You can also push the target up to 5 feet away from you, plus a number of feet equal to the number you roll on that die. You can then immediately use your reaction to move up to the walking speed to an unoccupied space within 5 feet of the target. So that's those dice. And your duelist dice, third level, you learn to conduct impressive displays of martial prowess and speed that are fueled by special dice called duelist dice. You have 4 duelist dice, which are all d4s. Duelist dice is expended when you use it. You regain all of your expended duelist dice when you finish a short or long rest, and you gain another duelist dice at 7th level and one more 15th. So it's kind of similar to maybe Bardic Inspirations or the fighter tactical dice in that kind of sense, but we're limited to the amount of times you can use it, because I think if you were to give someone like a anything higher than a D4 or potentially a 4 for that round to get like a higher AC, because essentially we could say, oh, you could use a D8, but then if you rolled an 8 on your attack and like you say, I don't know, you're gonna have a high dex more likely with this class, so you could theoretically have maybe like between 19 and 20 AC, and if you had an 8 that's 27, like you're barely going to get hit, so you have to kind of balance it down a bit. Ability score improvement when you reach 4th level, the normal kind of thing. I just realized this font's a bit off, but it doesn't matter. It's the normal kind of ability score improvement, 4th, 8th, 12th, 16th, and 19th, and then you get your usual up by 2 or split the 2 numbers, or you can choose a feat depending on your DM. Of course, they might not allow that kind of gameplay. They might choose to go featless in this game. Extra attack beginning at your 5th level, you can attack twice, so you get 2 attacks on your turn. At 9th level you get evasion. You can nimbly dodge out of the way of certain area effects such as a red dragon's fire breath or an ice storm spell. When you're subjected to an effect that allows you to make a dexterity saving throw, take only half damage, you instead take no damage if you exceed on the saving throw, and only half damage if you fail. Swift and Cunning Pirate. At 20th level you have perfected your use of your tact and your charm to get yourself out of almost any situation, and if your silver tongue doesn't work, your fancy footwork will. Your dexterity and charisma scores increase by 4. Your maximum of those scores is now 24. You're at level 20. You're overpowered, and you just kind of want to add extra bit to it. Obviously, your AC is going to go up. You're going to be really charismatic. So, like, you're supposed to be like overpowered at this stage. So we're just kind of adding fuel to the fire a bit with this feature. And now we're getting into Devil Fruit powers. So this is the kind of thing. Your Devil Fruit Paramechia, Zoan, Logia. Your Devil Fruit grants you features at 3rd, 6th, 11th and 15th level. Then the same, we went over the Paramechia, Zoan and Logia types and what they kind of mean. So the types of Paramechia fruits we have are the Gum Gum fruit and the Sabi Sabi fruit. The Gum Gum fruit is the user who consumes the Gum Gum fruit is able to stretch like rubber, making the user a rubber human. Your feature at 3rd level is Rubber Human. This user is able to stretch like rubber, making the user a rubber human. The user is almost entirely immune to blunt attacks. You gain resistance to bludgeoning damage, so you kind of get a bonus there. At 6th level you get the Stretchy Limbs feature. The user is able to stretch like rubber. The user is able to increase their the range of their melee weapon attacks by 5 feet, so you're going to be able to lunge out and like do extra attacks, so you're going to be increased overall how you move and everything. At 11th level you get Rubber Overdrive. The user can stretch his blood vessels wider to increase the speed of his blood flow in order to become faster and stronger at a cost of depleting his body's energy at a faster rate. The user casts haste on themselves. You're not actually casting the spell, but you're using the spell effects, so you're going to be following the same rules. The user cannot use this feature again until they take a short or long rest. So in this case, haste is a wizard spell, but I didn't mention it, but I think on another, we said we said Constitution is your spellcasting ability for these spells, so we'll probably use Con again for this case. So if you have haste and someone attacks you, you have to make Constitution score, otherwise, or a Constitution or concentration check, because you're kind of still the one casting on yourself, so you're gonna have to keep it up somehow. So in that regard, so if you get hit, you have to make a Constitution saving throw, so it's going to be your Con bonus, whatever. So same kind of thing. So you can't use on anyone else. It's just on yourself. So actually, it doesn't matter. So it's a concentration check. So whatever. Rubber inflation. At 15th level, the user can inflate his bones to increase the volume of his body and significantly increase his attacks. The user casts enlarge themselves. The user cannot use this feature again until they take a short or long rest. Same situation. They cast on themselves. So if they get attacked, they have to make a concentration check. Otherwise, it's gone. But it lasts for about a minute. So you get the kind of same bonuses. Sabi Sabi fruit. The user who consumes the Sabi Sabi fruit is able to rust any objects instantly. We had I think we had about 5 or 6 options, but the Sabi Sabi fruit seemed the best. That kind of naturally transferred well to D&D, so we kind of took elements of a rust monster and stuff and applied to a normal character. So rust metal, at 3rd level, the user is able to corrode non-magical ferrous metal objects they touch. If the object isn't being worn or carried, the touch destroys a 1-foot cube of it. If the object is being worn or carried by a creature, the creature makes a DC plus your 10 plus your proficiency bonus. So I think at level 3 it's 2, so it'll be a 12 DC check, saving throw, to avoid the user's touch. So that's kind of handy. If the object is touched by either a metal armor or metal shield being worn or carried, it takes a -1 penalty to AC it offers. Any non-magical weapon made of a metal that hits the user corrodes. After dealing damage, the weapon takes a -1 penalty to damage rolls. The effects aren't permanent after a long rest. The objects affected by rust return to normal stats after a long rest. Rust flesh. So you've kind of updated yourself. You're stronger. You're able to kind of corrode more natural things, beings, flesh, everything, rather than just ferrous objects, such stuff that have iron in them. So now you're able to affect people and animals and creatures. Once the constructs probably could fall into it. You could decay them in a sense. At 6th level, you're usually able to corrode flesh they touch. If the target is touched by the user, they take a -5 reduction to their maximum hit points. The effects aren't permanent after a long rest. The targets affected by rust return to their normal maximum hit points. So it can stack up over time, but it does go away after a long rest, so it's not a permanent affliction. And then we have at 11th level Perma Rust, so maybe those things don't last as much. At 11th level, the effects of rust metal become permanent. It doesn't affect rust flesh. I figured the way that it is that rust flesh, you're kind of corroding the skin and the body and everything, but eventually those will regrow. But if you have a shield or a sword or something, that's not going to regrow. So obviously they'll just fall apart and decay. If a weapon penalty drops to -5, the weapon is destroyed, and armor reduced to an AC of 10, or a shield that drops to +0 bonus is destroyed. So those kind of come into play. So obviously if you're looking to steal a weapon or something, you're not going to cast rust on it a couple of times and then destroy it or something. Obviously you can also choose which rust, when you want to use your rust ability. It's not going to be like as soon as you touch it and it's rusted or whatever. It's up to you to activate it and stuff. Imbued strikes. At 15th level, the user is able to imbue their weapon attacks with the effects of rust metal and rust flesh. So at this stage, you're able to say for example, take a sword, and you can slash someone, and you can deal damage, and on that turn, you can imbue that attack with your rust ability. So you'll be able to reduce their maximum hit points by -5. So like you'll be able to deal almost double damage in a sense. So it'd be pretty powerful. And if you want to hit a person, say if they deflect it with their shield or whatever, or parry it, you'll be able to reduce the damage. And also if they hit you, you're going to be reducing their weapons overall damage as it goes along. So if they say take 5 hits at you, you're going to destroy their weapon eventually. So it's quite it can be quite powerful. But you're at 15th level, so you're expected to be kind of overpowered in a sense. Well, not overpowered, but powerful enough to hold your own. And I think you would be able to as a rust user, or as a savvy fruit pirate. And then we're on to our Zoan fruits. So our 2 fruits that we have here are Ox fruit and Tweet fruit. I'm just going by the anime names and stuff. So I think Tweet was like Twite or something, so I just changed it to Tweet. Ox fruit. So the user who consumes an ox fruit is able to transform into an ox. This fruit provides 3 forms: the user's natural form, a full ox form where the animal size is often greatly exaggerated, and a hybrid form combining both original and ox form, usually in a bizarre way. So kind of like how it looks here. He looks a bit out of kind of weird. Like he almost has like the torso of an ox, but has normal human limbs, but has like the feet of an ox and the weird extra ankle thing. Then at 3rd level, you get the shape changer feature. You're able to transform or polymorph into a medium humanoid hybrid or a medium ox, or back into your true form. Statistics stay the same. And then we have the stats and everything for when you transform. Your size is medium. You gain the horn attacks and are considered proficient. It's a melee unarmed strike. Against one target, you think 1d6 strength, 1d6 plus strength piercing damage. And you also gain the maul attacks. Basically, if you charge an enemy, it says here, consider proficient. If you move at least 15 feet straight towards the target, so you're kind of charging at them, and then you hit with your horns at the same turn, the target deals an extra 2d6 slashing damage. If the target is a creature, it must succeed a DC 10 plus strength modifier, strength saving throw, or be knocked prone. So it's kind of powerful, but that'll be your full action, so you wouldn't get a second attack after that, so it kind of balances out. And then your Ox form, size is medium, you kind of get the same features. You get the horn attack, you get the maul attack, but your speed is increased. Base speed is increased by 10 in this form, so you kind of have to have a bit of a bonus for going into it. Obviously, you're not going to be able to communicate in the Ox form, so, and if you want to transform back into your Ox humanoid form or your normal human form or humanoid form, it'll take an action to do, so it's kind of balanced. At 6th level, you get Imposing Presence. You get proficiency in one of the following skills of your choice: Intimidation or Persuasion. If you're kind of big or scary, you can kind of talk your way into situations. Feral Instincts. At 11th level, your instincts are honed so that you have advantage on initiative rolls. Additionally, if you were surprised at the beginning of combat, you aren't incapacitated. You can act normally on your first turn, so kind of handy there. And Indomitable Strength. At 15th level, if your totals for your strength check is less than your strength score, you can use that score in place of the total. So you're naturally kind of strong, but at the same time, you got to keep in mind that your class is around a dex-based character. So if you're going into making this, and if you have a very high strength, maybe go into the Ox fruit pirate, just because it will benefit you long term over the likes of other features like Gum fruit could also work well. But I think if you're going to be a strength dex charisma kind of devil pirate, maybe Ox would be the best, because you also get all these bonuses from, and you're going to be a naturally strong kind of fighter, and also all your attacks that deal damage in the Ox form uses your strength, so you can't actually use your bonuses from the other features like your fighting style and your Nimble Fighter features. You can't use those because theoretically, actually, you could use your dex for it, maybe. So it's kind of be up to DM how you want to interpret it. Tweet fruit. The user who consumes a tweet fruit is able to transform into a falcon. This fruit provides 3 forms: the user's natural form, so same thing again, hybrid, humanoid form, and a full falcon form. And at 3rd, you get the shape changer feat again. Falcon humanoid hybrid. Your size is medium. You gain talons and can get 2 melee unarmed strikes, dealing 1d4 slashing on a hit. So you get 2 of those. Your size is medium. You gain. Then you go on to Falcon form. Your size is medium. You gain the talons attack and are considered proficient. Melee unarmed strikes. 1 target dealing a 1d4 slashing damage on a hit, and you also have a flying speed of 50 feet. So you're not going to get as much damage output as the Ox form, but you have the Falcon form, so you can fly and stuff. So you have all that added bonus. So you're a little more versatile. And at 6th level, you get slow fall. At 6th level, you can use your action or your reaction when you fall to reduce any falling damage you take by an amount equal to 5 times your devil pirate level. So at this level, you could fall probably, I think it's 30 feet. Then it's like 5d6 or something, and then you could reduce your damage by 30 or more. So like if you're going to be falling off like a cliff or something, say like 100 feet up, and you're at 15th level, times that by 5, that's like 75 damage. So more than likely you're probably going to balance out or not take as much damage. 11th level, you get Keen Sight. You get an advantage in all skill checks that rely on sight. This will be up your DM to interpret. So obviously, maybe if you want to try to throw an object at someone and you have to be able to see him, I would say no to that. But you could try to word it like maybe investigation, perception, all those kind of things. So if you want to be kind of tactile and spread it out, but like if it's going to be like a strength based, you have to see where you're throwing it, I would say no to that, because that's not really sight based, it's more strength and directionality. But I don't know. And then at 15th level, you gain the Pack Tactics feature. You gain advantage on attack rolls against a creature if at least one of the Hawk's allies, or Falcon. I said Hawk there, I meant Falcon. Falcon's allies is within 5 feet of the creature, and an ally isn't incapacitated. So you kind of get an extra bonuses. So obviously, this you can maybe include this at a higher level, but I thought this kind of suited well with the whole Falcon bird, because they all get Pack Tactics, and I didn't want to make it too overpowered, so that we get all these bonuses in an early stage. But I thought it seemed okay with the stats. And then we're on to types of Logia fruits. When you have the Flare fruit and the Eyesight fruit. So user consumes a flare fruit, transforms into fire at will, and as well as control it. Once their abilities are gained, they are neither completely human nor fire in their default state. Flare fruit users are immune to fire damage, but they are vulnerable to frost damage. So that's kind of an advantage and a curse. So like they're completely, because they're almost like an flame elemental or fire elemental. Jeez, I can't say elemental at all. They're going to be immune to the fire damage, but at the same side, they have vulnerability to ice damage. I said frost here, but you can obviously imply it's cold or whatever, because I know it's kind of vague in the book. It's always hopping between cold and frost and whatnot, and some other books. Obviously, cold, like if someone uses like cold blast on you or a ray of frost, that's going to deal double damage. So in a case if like it deals 5 damage, you're going to take 10 as a flare fruit user. Flame Adept, at 3rd level you know how to produce flame cantrip. Once you reach 3rd level, you can cast a burning hand spell equal to your proficiency bonus times per day. So at 3rd level, I think that's 2 or 3 times a day, so that's not too bad. And you can use it once you get like, I think 20th level, it's around 6 times, so it's not too many times, but it's just enough to be kind of somewhat balanced. Because I don't want to say like time per your level, because then you're getting like 20 uses at higher levels, and not many spellcasters get that many uses of that spell. So, and we want you to be a kind of a melee fighter, but you have the option of stepping back, firing them, and then running away. And so you push bonus 9 times a day as a 1st level spell. You gain the ability to cast it this way when you finish a long rest. Constitution is a spell casting ability for those spells, so it's kind of handy. So when you go on a cast spell, you use your con bonuses and whatnot. And then your next feature at level 6 is Light in the Dark. At 6th level, you can see in dim light within 60 feet of you as if it were bright light, and in darkness as if it were dim light. That's kind of like your natural flame body, allowing you to kind of see further. You're not giving off an aura, but you're almost like your eyes are on fire, so you can see farther in a sense. Even though it doesn't make sense, but it seems kind of cool. Siege damage, at 11th level you deal double damage to objects and structures, which makes kind of sense. Like you're dealing like elemental damage, you're going to be doing a lot of damage to your surroundings, and you're almost elemental force, so dealing extra damage against buildings would be kind of cool. Shape changer, so same thing, these guys can transform into elementals. So in this case you can turn into a fire elemental. You have your fire form, you can move through space as narrow as 1 inch wide with it while squeezing. Creature that touches the elemental or hits it with a melee attack within 5 feet takes 1d10 fire damage. So the usual kind of stuff with elementals. You're not getting the same damage reductions, but you're just getting this fire form. So that's one thing to keep in mind. So you're not getting like reduction to slashing, bludgeoning, piercing damage, all that stuff. You're just getting reductions, or you're just getting your bonuses here. So don't like hop over to your elemental in and I think it's in the monster manual, so don't like pop over there and just like I'm gonna take all these stats down. You're just able to transform into those things, and you get those bonuses from those features on the fire form. Illumination, so you're kind of getting all the base features without taking on the ability of the what do you call it? All the abilities bar like your base stats from the fire elemental. So like if you transform into this, your health and stuff carry over. So if you go over with 100 HP, your fire elemental has a 100 HP, and if he takes 25, you convert back to your normal form. You've taken 25 damage as well. So it's all transferable. And then all your kind of usual stuff: illumination, water stability, I can't even say it, touch attack. So basic kind of stuff like that. And then you have the Ice Fruit, same thing, Frost Adept, the Ray of Frost cantrip, and when you reach 3rd level you can cast the Armor of Agatha spell, so you kind of get a icy shell covered, and get you a bit of temporary hit points until someone hits you, and then they take frost damage. Siege damage, same thing, to get at 6th level, you deal damage to, get rid of those, you deal double damage to objects. You deal double damage to objects and structures. So same thing, you deal extra damage to structures because you're an elemental force and everything, blah blah blah. You get an extra feature at 11th level, Cold Lethargy. At 11th level, on a melee weapon attack, if the user attacks a creature on a successful hit, the creature must succeed on a DC 10 plus proficiency bonus saving throw, or for 1 minute its speed is reduced by 10 feet. The target can repeat the saving throw at the end of its turn, ending the effect when on itself as on a success. So if you hit someone, you're going to be dealing a little bit extra, kind of an extra bonus to them. It's like it's not damage, but you're going to be slowing them down a bit. So if you have a barbarian against you who's like just running around like a lunatic, slash people left and right, just hit them once, and you could reduce their DC 10 proficiency bonus saving throw. I haven't said what it is, but it should be con. I haven't noted that down there. That's actually an issue. But yeah, it should be a Constitution saving throw. So maybe against Barbarian it wouldn't be so good because they have such high con. And then same thing, these guys are shape changers. They have a frost form, so same kind of thing. There's no actual frost elemental in it, so this is kind of custom. And I just found this picture. It looks kind of like a frost elemental, what I imagine one to be anyways. So the same thing, they have extra kind of attacks. They don't have a touch attack, but they have a slam attack, so you can be able to hit. And that cold lethargy effect carries over to this form as well, so it's kind of handy. So same thing, you don't create a new monster sheet or whatever, you use the same stats, but you just have extra bonuses like your frost form and your slam attack, stuff like that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm going to leave a link to the description below for you guys to pick this up if you want. Check it out, leave comments below if you want me to do any other ones. I know this one took a little while, just not used to One Piece, so having to come up with a completely new class on something I'm not well versed in was a bit difficult. I'm still working on the Dragon Ball Z Freeze Forces one. It's just finding it a bit difficult trying to make it somewhat neutral, not evil, and it's kind of difficult. And trying to keep it like within the scope of D&D, so like it wants to be in space, but you want to make it like a country kind of thing, and it's like, I don't know, I might have to scrap it completely because it's just not coming together at all. I can't think of any ideas to make it somewhat usable. So if you guys have any suggestions below. I know we had one guy who the other day was asking about doing a Devil Slayer class from Fairy Tail. I'm thinking about it, but at the same time that kind of falls into the same line of the Dragon Slayer class. You could easily just reskin like Dragon Slayer and stuff and just replace it with Devil and just deal double damage against devils. So I don't know, we could look into it or something, but at the same time it's kind of like a paladin. Paladin's more for undead, I suppose, but I don't know, we'll look into it. But yeah, we'll end it there. Thanks everyone for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.